The air smells like ash and regret, a bitter tang that clings to the back of my throat as I stand on the cracked pavement of this godforsaken street. Hell isn't fire and brimstone like the preachers warned. It's a rundown city block, neon signs flickering with half-dead bulbs, the kind of place where dreams go to choke on their own despair. My boots scuff against the asphalt, gritty and warm, like the earth itself is feverish. I'm clutching a crumpled piece of paper with an address scrawled in smudged ink. 666 Ember Lane, apartment 4B. My new home. My punishment. I'm Luca Delgado, and I don't belong here. I was a star up there, in the glowing sprawl of heaven's elite training grounds, where angels honed their wings and their egos. I was the best until he showed up. Ezra Kane, with his sharp jawline and sharper tongue, always one step ahead, always stealing the light I fought so hard to claim. We were rivals, clawing for the top spot in the Celestial Academy, our blades clashing in training duels that left sparks raining like comets. I hated him. I admired him. I wanted to be him. And now, because of one reckless moment, one stupid choice, we're both here. Cast out, wingless, and forced to share a dingy apartment in hell's underbelly. The building looms ahead, a sagging relic of concrete and peeling paint. The buzzer's broken, naturally, so I shove the door open with my shoulder, the wood groaning like it's as tired as I am. Inside, the hallway smells of stale cigarettes and something faintly metallic, like blood or rust. My heart's pounding, a traitor that won't calm down, because I know he's already here. Ezra, my rival, my ruin, my roommate. I climb the stairs, each step creaking under my weight, and when I reach 4B, the door's ajar. A sliver of dim light spills out, along with the low hum of a radio playing some mournful jazz tune, all saxophone and heartbreak. I push the door open, and there he is, leaning against the kitchen counter, a glass of something dark in his hand. Ezra Kane, still infuriatingly perfect, even in exile. His dark hair falls in messy waves over his forehead, and his eyes, storm gray, always cutting through me. Meet mine with a flicker of something I can't read. Amusement? Anger? Or something softer? Something I don't dare name? Well, look who finally showed up, he says, his voice low, a velvet blade that slices right through me. Took you long enough, Delgado. I drop my bag on the floor, the thud echoing in the cramped space. Don't start, Kane. I snap, but my voice betrays me, cracking just enough to make me wince. This is your fault as much as mine. He raises an eyebrow, sipping his drink, and I notice the way his fingers curl around the glass, steady despite everything. My fault? You're the one who threw the punch that got us both kicked out. I clench my fists, the memory burning like a fresh wound. The final duel at the academy, the crowd roaring, our blades locked in a dance of fury and pride. I'd been winning, until Ezra taunted me, his words sharper than his sword, digging into every insecurity I'd buried. I lost control, threw down my blade, and swung. One punch, and the archangels didn't care who started it. We were both banished, our wings stripped, our futures torched. You pushed me? I say, stepping closer, the air between us crackling with tension. You always pushed me. Ezra sets his glass down, the clink sharp against the silence. He steps forward, too, until we're inches apart, and I can smell the whiskey on his breath, the faint cedar of his cologne. Maybe you needed pushing, he murmurs, his voice softer now, but no less dangerous. Maybe you still do. My breath catches, and I hate how my body reacts to him. Heart racing, skin prickling, like he's a storm I can't escape. I turn away, pretending to study the apartment. A sagging couch, a coffee table scarred with cigarette burns, a window that looks out on a brick wall. Home sweet hell. We need rules, I say, forcing my voice steady. We stay out of each other's way. No fights. No bullshit. Ezra laughs. A low, bitter sound that makes my chest ache. Rules? In hell? You're adorable, Luca. Shut up. I mutter, but there's no heat in it. I'm too tired, too raw. I grab my bag and head for the hallway, hoping to find a bedroom, any bedroom, to put some distance between us. But Ezra's voice stops me. "There's only one bedroom," he says, and I freeze. "One bed. Guess we're sharing." I whip around, my face burning. "Like hell we are." He shrugs, that infuriating smirk playing on his lips. "Take it up with the landlord, or sleep on the couch. Your call." I want to scream, to throw something, to wipe that smirk off his face. But I don't. I just stand there, my chest heaving, my mind spinning with the absurdity of it all. Rivals in heaven, roommates in hell. And now sharing a bed? This is a cosmic joke, and I'm the punchline. The first night is torture. The bed's too small, the mattress creaking with every move. Ezra's on the left side, sprawled out like he owns the place, his breathing slow and even. I'm on the right, curled into a tight ball, trying not to touch him, trying not to notice the warmth radiating from his body, the faint scent of his skin. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, where a water stain spreads like a bruise. My mind replays our last duel, the moment everything fell apart. I'd been so close to beating him, so close to proving I was enough. But I wasn't. And now, here we are, two broken angels in a broken world. Morning comes, gray and heavy, the light filtering through the grimy window. Ezra's already up, making coffee in the kitchen, the hiss of the machine filling the silence. I stumble out, my eyes gritty, my body aching from the tension of not sleeping. He doesn't look at me, just slides a mug across the counter. Black coffee, no sugar, exactly how I like it. I hate that he knows that. "Thanks," I mumble, taking the mug, my fingers brushing his for a split second. It's nothing, but it feels like everything electric, dangerous, wrong. "Don't get used to it," he says, but there's no bite in his voice. He's watching me, his eyes searching, and I wonder what he sees. The boy who almost beat him, or the mess I am now. We fall into a rhythm or something like it. Days blur into nights. The city outside our window, a constant hum of chaos. Sirens wailing, voices shouting, the occasional crack of something breaking. Hell's not subtle. Neither are we. We bicker over everything. Who left dishes in the sink? Who forgot to lock the door? Who's hogging the bed? But beneath the fights, there's something else. Something growing in the spaces between our words. A glance that lingers too long. A touch that isn't accidental. A moment where I catch him staring, and he doesn't look away. One night, I'm sitting on the couch, nursing a beer, when the door buzzer screeches. Ezra's in the shower, the sound of water pattering against tile, so I drag myself up to answer it. Standing in the hallway is a girl, maybe 18, with purple hair and a leather jacket that's seen better days. Her name's Vesper, she says, and she's our neighbor from 4C. Her eyes are bright, too bright, like she's hiding something, and she talks fast, like she's running out of time. "Thought I'd introduce myself," she says, leaning against the doorframe, her voice a mix of bravado and nerves. "You two are the newbies, right? The fallen angels." I bristle at the term, but she just grins, like she knows exactly how much it stings. "What do you want?" I ask sharper than I mean to. "Just being friendly," she says, but there's an edge to her words, a challenge. "This place eats people like you alive. You'll need friends." Before I can respond, Ezra steps out of the bathroom, a towel slung low around his hips, water dripping down his chest. My mouth goes dry, and Vesper's eyebrows shoot up, her grin widening. "Well, damn," she says. "This just got interesting." Ezra ignores her, his eyes locking on mine, and for a moment, the air feels too thick to breathe. "Who's this?" he asks, his voice calm but laced with something possessive. "Vesper," I say, tearing my gaze away. "Our neighbor." She winks at Ezra, undeterred. "You boys play nice, and if you need anything, secrets, supplies, or just someone to stir up trouble, I'm your girl." She's gone before we can say more, leaving behind the faint scent of lavender and cigarette smoke. Ezra's still watching me, his expression unreadable, and I realize my heart's pounding again, like it's trying to break free. That night, I dream of heaven. The golden spires, the rush of wind through my wings, the thrill of sparring with Ezra, our bodies moving in perfect sync, like we were made to fight each other. I wake up gasping, his arms slung across my chest, his breath warm against my neck. I don't move. I don't want to. Weeks pass, and the apartment feels smaller every day, like the walls are closing in, trapping us in this dance of avoidance and collision. The air's always heavy with the scent of coffee, whiskey, and something unnameable, tension, maybe, or want. Ezra and I circle each other like planets caught in the same orbit, drawn together but terrified of crashing. I catch myself watching him when he's not looking. The way his fingers trace the rim of his glass, the way his shoulders tense when he thinks I'm not paying attention. I hate how much I notice, how much I care. Vesper becomes a regular fixture, popping in unannounced with her quick laugh and sharper secrets. She's a hustler, always trading favors or information. Her purple hair a beacon in the gloom of our building. She tells us stories about hell's underbelly, black markets, rogue demons, a resistance movement whispering about overthrowing the system. I don't trust her, not completely, but there's something about her that pulls me in, like she's a puzzle I need to solve. Ezra, though, doesn't like her. I see it in the way his jaw tightens when she's around, the way he positions himself between us, like he's staking a claim. One night, we're all sprawled on the couch, passing a bottle of cheap vodka back and forth. The radio's playing some old rock song, gritty and raw, and Vesper's telling us about a club downtown where the fallen go to forget. You two should come, she says, her eyes glinting. Live a little. You're not dead yet. Ezra snorts, leaning back, his arm brushing mine. We're in hell, Vesper. Pretty sure that's the definition of dead. She laughs, kicking her boots up on the coffee table. Nah, you're just moping. Come on, Luca, back me up. You need to get out of this dump. I glance at Ezra, and he's watching me, his eyes dark and unreadable. I'm good, I say, but my voice sounds hollow, like I'm trying to convince myself. Vesper rolls her eyes. You two are hopeless. All this brooding, and for what? You're stuck here. Might as well make it fun. She leaves soon after, but her words linger, buzzing in my head like static. Ezra's quiet, staring at the bottle in his hands, and I can't stand the silence anymore. What's your deal with her? I ask sharper than I mean to. He looks up, surprised, then shrugs. She's trouble. You're too naive to see it. Naive? I bristle, standing up, the room spinning slightly from the vodka. You don't get to call me that. You don't know me. Don't I? He says, standing too, his voice low and dangerous. I know you better than you think, Luca. I know how you push yourself too hard, how you hate losing, how you're terrified of being nothing. His words hit like a fist, and I step closer, my breath ragged. And what about you, Ezra? Always so damn perfect, always in control. But you're here, same as me. You're nothing now, too. For a moment, I think he's going to hit me. His eyes blaze, his fists clenched. But then he exhales, a long, shaky breath, and steps back. You're wrong, he says, so soft I barely hear it. I was never perfect. He turns away, and I'm left standing there, my heart pounding, my skin buzzing with the ghost of his words. I want to scream, to grab him, to make him face me, but I don't. I just watch him walk to the bedroom, the door clicking shut behind him. The next day, Vesper drags us to the club she mentioned, a pulsing, neon-lit hole in the wall called the Abyss. The air inside is thick with smoke and sweat, the bass thumping so hard it rattles my bones. Ezra's beside me, his shoulder brushing mine as we weave through the crowd, and I can't tell if it's accidental or deliberate. Vesper's ahead, her laugh cutting through the noise, leading us to a booth in the back where a guy with tattoos curling up his neck waits. His name's Mal, she says, and he's got a job for us. A job? I ask, skeptical, shouting over the music. Ezra's tense, his eyes scanning the room like he's expecting an ambush. Mal leans forward, his voice low, conspiratorial. A run. Smuggle some goods out of hell's black market. Easy money. Ezra laughs, cold and sharp. Nothing's easy here. What's the catch? Mal grins, all teeth. The catch is you don't get caught. You in or out. I glance at Ezra, and he's looking at me, his expression unreadable. Your call, he says, but there's a challenge in his voice, like he's testing me. I nod because what else do we have? We're in. The job goes wrong, of course. We're halfway through a deserted alley, carrying a bag of who knows what, when the air shifts, heavy with the scent of sulfur. Shadows move, and before I can react, Ezra's shoving me behind him, his body a shield. A demon steps out of the darkness, all sharp claws and sharper eyes, and my heart stops. We're not warriors anymore. We're not angels. We're just two idiots in over our heads. Ezra fights like he's still in heaven, all grace and fury, but he's slower without his wings, without his blade. I jump in, my fist swinging, and together we manage to drive the demon back, but not before it rakes its claws across Ezra's arm. He hisses, blood dripping onto the pavement, and I grab him, pulling him into a sprint. We make it back to the apartment, breathless, the bag of goods abandoned. Ezra's leaning against the wall, his face pale, his arm a mess of red. I grab a towel, my hands shaking as I press it against the wound. Hold still, I say, my voice rough, and he looks at me, his eyes softer than I've ever seen. You didn't have to do that, he says, his voice barely a whisper. Jump in like that. Yeah, I did, I say, and I don't know why my throat's tight, why my chest aches like it's about to crack open. You'd do the same. He doesn't answer, just watches me, and for a moment, the world narrows to this. His blood on my hands, his breath against my skin, the weight of everything we've lost and everything we're becoming. The apartment smells like antiseptic and regret as I clean Ezra's wound. The silence between us heavy with things we're not saying. His arm is warm under my hands. The skin bruised but unbroken where the demon's claws didn't dig too deep. He's watching me, his gray eyes catching the dim light, and I can't look at him for too long because it feels like falling. The radio's on low, some old blues song about love and loss, and it's almost funny how it fits, how it wraps around us like a shroud. You're terrible at this, Ezra says, his voice teasing but soft, like he's trying to lighten the weight of the moment. Shut up, I mutter, but there's no heat in it. My fingers brush his skin as I wrap the bandage, and I feel him tense, hear the slight catch in his breath. It's nothing, I tell myself. It's nothing. But my heart's pounding, and I'm hyper-aware of every inch between us. The way his knee bumps mine as he shifts on the couch. Vesper shows up an hour later, her knock sharp and insistent. She's all apologies, her eyes wide with guilt as she takes in Ezra's bandaged arm. I didn't know it'd go south like that, she says, pacing the small living room. Mal's an idiot. I'll make it right. Ezra's leaning back, his expression cold. You almost got us killed, Vesper. Stay out of our business. She flinches, but her jaw tightens, and I see the fire in her eyes, the same fire I used to have when I thought I could take on the world. You don't get it, she says. This place, it chews up the weak. You need to move, to fight, or you're just waiting to disappear. Maybe I'm tired of fighting. Ezra snaps, and I'm startled by the rawness in his voice, the crack that betrays how close he is to breaking. Vesper leaves, the door slamming behind her, and I'm left staring at Ezra, trying to read the shadows in his eyes. You okay? I ask because it's all I can think to say. He laughs, a hollow sound that cuts me deeper than it should. No, Luca, I'm not okay. Are you? I don't answer because I don't know. Instead, I grab 2 beers from the fridge, the glass cold against my palms, and hand one to him. We sit in silence, the bottle sweating, the radio humming, and I realize this is the closest we've been to peace since we fell. Days turn into weeks, and we settle into a fragile truce. We stop fighting over the bed, stop pretending we don't notice the way our bodies gravitate toward each other in sleep. I wake up one morning with my arm draped over his waist, his back pressed against my chest, and I don't pull away. Neither does he. We don't talk about it, but it's there, a quiet shift like the world tilting just enough to change everything. Vesper keeps her distance, but her presence lingers, a reminder of the danger we're in just by existing here. I catch Ezra staring out the window sometimes, his jaw tight, his eyes distant, and I wonder what he's thinking, what he's hiding. I want to ask, but the words stick in my throat, heavy with fear of what they might uncover. One night, we're at the abyss again because what else is there to do in hell? The music's louder this time, the crowd wilder, and Ezra's beside me, his shoulder brushing mine as we lean against the bar. I'm halfway through a whiskey when I see her, Vesper, weaving through the crowd, her purple hair glowing under the neon lights. She's with Mal, and something about the way they're whispering sets my nerves on edge. Something's off, I say, nudging Ezra. He follows my gaze, his body tensing. Before we can move, Vesper's at our side, her smile too bright, too sharp. "You boys enjoying the nightlife?" she asks, but her eyes are darting, scanning the room. "What's going on?" Ezra asks, his voice low, dangerous. She hesitates, then leans in, her voice barely a whisper. "Mal's planning something big, a heist, against the overseers. The overseers, Hell's enforcers, demons who keep the city in line with fear and blood." My stomach twists, and Ezra's hand brushes mine, a fleeting touch that grounds me. "And you're telling us why?" he asks. "Because I owe you," she says, her voice breaking. "And because I need your help." I laugh, bitter and sharp. "You think we're stupid enough to get involved in that?" But Ezra's quiet, his eyes locked on Vesper, and I know that look. It's the same one he had at the academy, when he was about to do something reckless. "What's the plan?" he asks, and I want to grab him, shake him, tell him he's insane. Vesper lays it out. A vault in the heart of hell, guarded by overseers, filled with relics from the upper realms. Artifacts that could give us power, maybe even a way out. It's a long shot, a suicide mission, but Ezra's listening, and I can see the spark in his eyes, the hunger for something more than this half-life we're living. We argue about it later, back at the apartment, our voices rising over the hum of the city outside. "This is crazy," I say, pacing the living room, my hands shaking. "We're not soldiers anymore, Ezra. We're not even angels." "Maybe not," he says, stepping closer, his voice steady. "But we're not nothing either. We're still us." The word hits me like a punch because it's true. We've always been us, rivals, enemies, something more. I look at him, really look at him, and see the boy who pushed me to be better, who broke me and built me up in the same breath. And I realize I don't want to lose him, not to hell, not to anything. "Fine," I say, my voice rough. "We do this, but we do it together." He smiles, a real smile, soft and unguarded, and it's like the sun breaking through the clouds. "Together," he says, and my heart stutters, because it sounds like a promise. The night of the heist is electric, the air thick with the scent of rain and ozone, like a storm's brewing just beyond the city's jagged skyline. We're crouched in an alley, the damp pavement cold under my knees, the distant wail of sirens mixing with the thud of my pulse. Ezra's beside me, his breath visible in the chilly air, his eyes sharp and focused. Vesper's ahead, her silhouette a flicker of purple against the shadows, leading us toward the vault. Mal's with us, too, his tattoos glinting under the streetlights, but I don't trust him. Not after last time. The plan's simple, in theory. Sneak in, grab the relics, get out. But nothing's simple in hell. The vault's buried in an old warehouse, guarded by overseers who don't sleep, don't blink, don't care about two fallen angels and their desperate dreams. Ezra's hand brushes mine as we move, a silent reassurance, and I cling to it, to him, like he's the only thing keeping me grounded. Inside, the warehouse is a maze of crates and shadows, the air heavy with the smell of oil and decay. Vesper moves like she was born for this, silent and sure, but Mal's too loud, his boots scuffing against the concrete. I shoot Ezra a look, and he nods, his jaw tight. We're both thinking the same thing. This is going to fall apart. It does, faster than I expect. An overseer steps out of the darkness, its eyes glowing red, its claws glinting like knives. Vesper curses, Mal bolts, and Ezra grabs my arm, pulling me behind a crate. "Stay with me," he whispers, his voice urgent, and I nod, my heart in my throat. The fight is chaos, all shouts and shadows, the air filled with the screech of metal and the sickening crunch of bone. Ezra's a blur, dodging claws, landing punches, but he's outnumbered, and I can't just watch. I dive in, my body moving on instinct, the way it did in heaven when we sparred, when we were equals. We fight together, back to back, our movements synced like we've never been apart. But then Vesper screams, and I turn to see her pinned by an overseer, its claws at her throat. Ezra hesitates just for a second, and that's when it happens. Mal reappears, but he's not helping. He's holding a relic, a glowing orb that pulses with power, and his eyes are wild, betraying us. "Sorry, boys," he says, and he's gone, disappearing into the shadows as the overseers close in. Ezra grabs the orb from the ground where Mal dropped another, smaller relic, and shoves it into my hands. "Run," he says, his voice breaking. "Get it out of here. I'm not leaving you," I say, my voice raw, my hands shaking as I clutch the relic, its warmth burning through my skin. "You have to," he says, and there's something in his eyes, fear, love, something I can't name. "Please, Luca. I don't want to go," but the overseers are closing in and Vesper's bleeding, and I know he's right. I run, my lungs burning, my heart screaming, the relic heavy in my hands. I make it out, collapsing in the alley, the rain soaking through my clothes, mixing with the tears I didn't know I was crying. Hours later, I'm back at the apartment, the relic hidden under the floorboards, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. Vesper's there, bandaged but alive, her eyes haunted. "He saved me," she says, her voice small. "Ezra. He stayed behind so I could get out. I can't breathe, can't think. Ezra's gone, taken by the overseers, and it's my fault. I should have stayed, should have fought harder." The apartment feels empty without him, the silence deafening, the bed cold and too big. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the water stain mocking me with its permanence. Days pass, and I'm a ghost, moving through the motions, waiting for news that doesn't come. Vesper tries to help, but her guilt is as heavy as mine, and we're both drowning in it. Then, one night, the door opens, and there he is, Ezra, bruised and battered, but alive. I'm on my feet before I can think, crossing the room in 2 strides, my hands reaching for him, touching his face, his shoulders, needing to know he's real. "You're okay," I say, my voice breaking, and he smiles, that soft, unguarded smile that undoes me. "Barely," he says, his hand finding mine, his fingers lacing through my own. "But I'm here." We don't talk about the relic or Mal's betrayal or the fact that we're still in hell, still broken. We just stand there, holding on, the rain outside tapping against the window like a heartbeat. And then he kisses me, soft at first, then desperate, like he's afraid I'll disappear. I kiss him back, my hands in his hair, my heart pounding, and it's like the world cracks open, spilling light into the dark. We pull apart, breathless, and he rests his forehead against mine, his breath warm against my lips. "I hated you once," he whispers, "but I think I've loved you longer." I laugh, a shaky, tear-filled sound, because it's true for me, too. We were rivals in heaven, enemies in the light, but here, in the ashes of hell, we're something more, something real. The relic's still under the floorboards, a promise of power, of escape, but for now, it doesn't matter. We're together, and that's enough. Hell can wait. We've got each other, and that's a rebellion in itself. A fierce, fragile hope that we can build something new, something ours even in the ruins.